is a whole slew of threats, but don't necessarily know the details of what those will look like.
Arizona's governor at the border today, taking on the immigration agenda of President-elect Trump, including his plan for mass deportations. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. Governor Katie Hobbs, a Democrat, visited the border on the same day that Trump confirmed plans to use the military for immigration enforcement. As Fox 10's Ashley Rodriguez reports tonight, the governor says those policies will terrorize communities and she won't tolerate them.
Governor Katie Hobbs is very proud of her Operation Secure and Safe initiatives that are tamping down and seizing illicit drugs coming into the Arizona border. But what she doesn't know is how the incoming Trump administration's policies are going to affect her programs.
I will not tolerate misguided policies that don't actually help with the critical work that's happening here, that you're seeing here today, that actually keeps our communities safe and secure.
Hobbs is implying the border policies of the incoming Trump administration.
On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program of criminals in American history.
President-elect Donald Trump says he will secure the U.S.-Mexico border, vowing mass deportations and confirming Monday on Truth Social he would do so by declaring a national emergency and using military assets.
What we're presented with is a whole slew of threats, but don't necessarily know the details of what those will look like.
And that includes the recently passed Prop 314, which allows local law enforcement to arrest undocumented immigrants, a measure she calls an unfunded mandate and one without clear implementation.
Sheriff's office are underfunded. They have a job already, and this just compounds that.
Hobbs says she will continue doing what she says is working at the state's port of entries, namely coordinating with local and federal agencies, issuing harsher sentences for traffickers, and using the National Guard as a force multiplier to seize millions of pounds of illicit drugs while funding a variety of programs that fight the fentanyl crisis. And now we wait to see what directives come down from the White House and whether Governor Hobbs will comply with, assist, or fight the policies coming out of the incoming Trump administration, and how his promises to secure and make the border safe will impact us here at the Nogales border. Ashley Rodriguez, Fox 10 News.
Pew Research estimates there are 11 million illegal immigrants living here in the United States. Now, when it comes to deportations, Trump officials say they are planning to prioritize those who pose a risk to public safety. The incoming administration is also expected to roll back parole options for asylum seekers coming from countries like Cuba, Venezuela, and Haiti. On Capitol Hill, top Republicans say they support Trump's plans on immigration, which they say were laid out repeatedly before the election.
This is what the American people have demanded and what they deserve. They want a secure country. They want a secure border, and we will deliver upon that.
The incoming border czar, Tom Homan, says the Trump administration is already working on a deportation plan. In fact, he says he's going to Mar-a-Lago this week to put the final touches on that plan, which he says will, quote, take the handcuffs off ICE. Many Democrats at the local and state level say they will try to block this immigration enforcement plan. The fraud trial for Trump ally and former White House advisor Steve Bannon has been delayed. Bannon is accused of running a border wall fundraising scheme. Today, a New York judge pushed back his trial to February. It was expected to begin next month. He's facing state charges of conspiracy and money laundering. The now defunct charitable organization We Build the Wall raised more than $20 million to build a few miles of fencing along the southern border. Prosecutors say Bannon helped funnel some of that money to a military veteran who started the campaign and vowed not to take a penny of compensation. Bannon says he is not guilty of those charges. A deadly E. coli outbreak tied to carrots has now sickened people in at least 18 states. The CDC says the carrots were grown by Grimway Farms, which is based in Bakersfield, California. Fox 58's Leslie Valle reports tonight that more than a dozen cases of people getting sick have now been reported across California, Oregon, Washington, and Wyoming.
Seen a lot of E. coli outbreaks, and in almost every instant, lawsuits have been filed.
According to Grimboy Farms, they are the largest carrot producer in the world, and now they're at the center of a nationwide E. coli outbreak. the now recalled carrots is no longer available in stores. But the CDC says consumers should still check to make sure they aren't in the refrigerator or freezer. Images shown are just some of the carrots that should be thrown away if they were whole carrots available for purchase during August 14th through October 23rd, or baby carrots with best if used by dates ranging from September 11th through November 12th. As of now, there have been 39 people infected, 15 hospitalized, and 1 death reported. Environmental attorney Vineet Dubé says normally the store that sold the recall item are sued, but in this case,
Grimway Farms may also get sued because they are such a big organization and because they obviously would be able to be sued in court and potentially provide restitution as well.
Dubé says the settlement amounts could vary, but incidents involving kids, the elderly, or death could have larger payouts.
If you have cases where this happens, then the lawsuits become a lot more, potentially valuable and the settlements become larger.
Dubé says it's common for companies to try to resolve it, but if not, it can take from 2 to 3 years before there's a resolution. So how will this impact Kern County? CSUB economic professor Aaron Hegde says it depends on how widespread the situation is.
So normally, if there is a lot of losses, like say in the hundreds of millions, then the company might have to scale back on employees.
Hegde tells us he's estimated that even one recall could cost the company around $10 million. But for Grimway, he thinks it shouldn't be a hefty loss or costing jobs.
As far as recalls go, this is not a major recall.
And that was Fox 58's Leslie Valle reporting for us tonight. For a list of the dozens of carrot products the FDA wants you to avoid, head over to our website. We have them all there for you at westcoastwrap.com. The former Clark County official sentenced to life in prison for killing a Las Vegas journalist has filed an appeal of that conviction. A jury found Robert Tellez guilty on all counts for stabbing Las Vegas Review-Journal reporter Jeff Gehrman to death outside of his home in August of 2022. Tellez's attorney withdrew from the case following the conviction, saying the public defender would be taking over. Tellez has said that he was framed.
Metro Police! Metro Police! Hey, drop the knife!
Newly released body camera video shows the moments leading up to a deadly police shooting inside a Las Vegas home. An officer shot and killed a man who had called police for help. Brandon Durham called police last week, reporting someone breaking into his home. Tonight, his family is calling for the officer who shot him to be fired. Fox 5's Molly McBride has the latest tonight on the 2 parallel investigations that are now underway.
It's this body-worn camera video released by Metro last week that's caught the attention of District Attorney Steve Wolfson, who in a statement is asking for the public's patience while Metro completes 2 separate investigations, an administrative review to find out if officers broke any policies and if they should be disciplined, and a criminal investigation to determine whether they'll submit criminal charges against any involved officers. And since Metro is still investigating, Wolfson said, quote, "It would be inappropriate for me to express an opinion regarding whether criminal charges are going to be filed." Meanwhile, attorneys representing the Durham family say they believe there is enough evidence for an arrest now.
We believe that a grand jury should return an indictment for homicide against this officer.
Civil rights attorney Lee Merritt says not only was Officer Bookman not in danger when he shot Durham, Durham was. In the body-worn camera video, Bookman can be heard yelling, "Drop the knife,"
Hey, drop the knife!
before shooting Durham 1 second later.
That officer had a chance now to make a decision. He offered a verbal command, but without giving anybody an opportunity to comply, he immediately directed force at the person that in our view was clearly the resident.
In addition to the arrest, Merritt called for the entire case file turned over to their office, including the full video before and after the shooting.
That was Fox 5's Molly McBride reporting tonight. The suspect accused of breaking into the home was initially booked for home invasion and assault charges. It is possible she will also face an additional charge of involuntary manslaughter. We have an update tonight on plans for layoffs at Boeing. The plane manufacturer has informed the state of Washington that it will lay off nearly 2,200 workers in that state next month. These cuts are part of a sweeping plan to help Boeing recover from financial and regulatory trouble. The company plans to cut as much as 10% of its workforce in the coming months. That's a loss of about 17,000 jobs in total. The layoffs are expected to affect Boeing workers all across the country. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, dangerous weather in the Pacific Northwest and more storms are on the way. Tonight, what crews are doing to try to limit the damage and keep people safe.
And a live look here over San Francisco, where the Bay Area is expected to receive several inches of rain by the end of the week. Have a look at what we can expect here in the West coming up.
Also tonight, a surprise reunion for a military family here in the West. We'll show you this emotional moment. A 12-year-old realized his Army dad was home from deployment.
I love you guys. I love you too. A little bit overwhelming. I was just very happy.
A group of people who got stuck on a ride at a Southern California amusement park today have now been rescued. This all unfolded this afternoon at Knott's Berry Farm in Orange County. The Soul Spin ride got stuck in midair with about 20 guests on it for about 30 minutes or so. The ride takes people up more than 6 stories and spins them around in 3 different directions. Park operators managed to lower that ride eventually and then got everyone off. They have not said tonight what may have caused the ride to malfunction in the first place. Spirit Airlines has now filed for bankruptcy protection. The airline has been struggling with a drop in sales, a plane engine recall, and failed merger attempts with JetBlue and Frontier Airlines. Spirit Airlines says customers can still book flights and use existing tickets and credits. Tonight, the Pacific Northwest is preparing for a strong winter-like storm that is sweeping across the region this week. And there's already severe weather. Cameras captured crews responding to snowy spinouts in the mountains southeast of Seattle earlier today. Transportation officials are asking people to avoid traveling through Snoqualmie Pass right now. And they're warning those who will be driving through that area to be prepared with emergency supplies. Fox 13's Shira Matsuzawa shows us how people at lower elevations in Washington are preparing for this next round of storms.
In Seattle's Magnolia neighborhood, crews with Seattle Tree Care were busy trimming trees, chipping branches, and looking for troubled spots.
We have identified a few branches that look like they're overextended.
Mike Lair is the crew production manager for Seattle Tree Care. He says this was routine work for them, but it comes as trees are top of mind for some folks as Western Washington prepares for high winds Tuesday night, which could mean tree and property damage.
When you have a really large tree isolated, oftentimes it can be more susceptible to some of the wind damage.
If your home has a tree like this, Mike recommends doing a general visual inspection.
Stand back from it and look at the overall shape of the tree, and if anything's poking out.
Also, get up close to the trunk and see if there are any signs of decay.
Next to the trunk, look up. And if you see any broken branches or any brown patches, that'd be an indication that you've either got some wind damage, some storm damage.
He adds, look at the roots. If you see the roots lifting up, that's cause for concern. And of course, when in doubt, call the professionals out.
Anything that you have to do from a ladder, call a professional.
We prepare our electric system year-round, and that includes tree trimming and completing any type of electric reliability projects to strengthen our system.
Puget Sound Energy spokesperson Andrew Padula says they've added extra staff with extra dispatchers ready to work around the clock in case of power outages. Right now, they're keeping a close eye on the weather and urging their 1.2 million electric customers to be prepared.
Easiest thing to do is make sure you have batteries, get your emergency kits ready, charge those cell phones so that you have something to communicate with if the power goes out.
For Mike and his crew, they too will be watching reports of any toppled trees.
It's not uncommon for us to have to dispatch either our crane, one of our bucket trucks, or one of our grapple trucks to remove a large lead that's fallen into somebody's house over their driveway.
And that was Fox 13's Shira Matsuzawa reporting for us tonight. Here is a live look at the conditions in the downtown Seattle area right now. Showers have been moving through this area for most of the afternoon. For more on what's ahead here in the coming days, let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Rosemary Orozco, who is tracking this system that will bring a lot of rain, wind, and snow. Hey, Rosemary.
Yes, you said it, Alex. You about summed it up. Giving you a view here at the Pacific satellite and radar, where the scatter showers continue over areas of the Pacific Northwest, including Seattle, coming in only at 43 degrees this afternoon. So in addition to the wet weather, very cool weather as well. The forecast model here will show you as we roll into Tuesday, areas over Washington, Oregon, and Northern California begin to see this system here that is expected to actually deepen into what we call a bomb cyclone, meaning very strong and bringing along with it not only the flooding rains, but some strong wind. And there are advisories for parts of the West due to that. I'll show you those here momentarily. By Wednesday morning, it is now moving into the Bay Area. And right now, it looks like the cutoff is going to be right about San Francisco. So the North Bay is expected to get hammered. Central and South Bay, not so much. That looks to be right there, the delineation. Thursday into the afternoon, the rain is still coming down over areas of Oregon, Northern California, again, right there, the cutoff at about San Francisco. And when it comes to the advisories, we'll go in chronological order because before the rain arrives, there is still very cold conditions expected for the Bay Area tomorrow with freeze and frost advisories for the inland areas around the Bay, not San Francisco, but in the Bay Area. And then as we get into the afternoon, we begin to see that storm move closer to the coast. And with that, the high wind warning is that shade of pink there. Some gusts are expected to hit 70 miles per hour. So as we were hearing the report going about the possibility of power outages and things like that, that's definitely something we could see with this type of storm. And the winter storm warning starts in the afternoon as well. The shade of white, the Cascades, the Sierra, and areas over Northern California expected to get snow. Levels down to about 3,500 feet from Wednesday into Thursday. And the flood watch for the north part of the Bay Area, including the coastal range that could see 11 inches of rainfall by the end of the week. Now, this is looking all the way into Friday, and you can see the bullseye here. That's where the atmospheric river is expected to hit from Oregon into Northern California. That's where most of the rain at this time is expected to be. Not everybody with cold, rainy conditions. Arizona today, sunny and 69. And if we take a look at the 3 days ahead, Southern California enjoying low 70s with dry conditions. Phoenix enjoying 70s and dry conditions as well. Alex?
Okay, Rosemary, thank you. Cash App users have until tonight to file a claim to get up to $2,500. The San Francisco-based company recently settled a lawsuit for $15 million. That class action suit was filed after a former employee was able to access user information without permission. 8.2 million current and former Cash App users' information was compromised here. If you had money taken out of your account without your permission between August 23rd of 2018 and August 20th of this year, you can submit a claim at cashappsecuritysettlement.com. The deadline to submit that claim is tonight, 11 p.m. Pacific time. Coming up tonight, here on West Coast Wrap, hundreds of thousands of Formula One fans will be descending on Las Vegas this week. Tonight, what the resorts are doing to dazzle racing fans off the track. Also, an entire school community comes together to help surprise one student. We have the emotional moment that brought many to tears. In Oregon, cameras were rolling when a delivery truck was stolen with an employee inside. Investigators say this all happened Friday in Milwaukee, south of Portland. Someone hopped in the driver's seat of that truck and took off as a crew loaded items into the cargo area. One employee in the cargo area jumped out of the back to avoid being taken away. Police say one of their patrol cars was rammed by the truck. Once they caught up with it, the suspected thief was eventually caught and arrested. He's facing a number of charges, including hit and run. Well, racing will be the top attraction when Formula One's Las Vegas Grand Prix makes a comeback later this week. Fox's Sunny Sai shows us what's being done to put on a show for fans, even if they don't have tickets.
Race week is here again, and in just 3 days, Formula One drivers will be speeding down this racetrack right behind me to compete for the championship. While the record high prices last year might have scared away some fans from attending, the Las Vegas Grand Prix and hotels around the track have made some adjustments this year, hoping to bring out an even larger crowd.
Our price point has been lowered this year, which we're really happy about. We are at a $3,500 price point for the 3-day ticket to the clubhouse.
Ticket sales for the F1 Clubhouse at the Elara by Hilton Grand Vacations are up 9 times compared to the same time last year. They say making a couple tweaks to their F1 experience was the key.
You're going to be able to see 3 nights of private concerts. When you pair in the top shelf premium open bars and catered buffet options, it's really a pretty good deal.
A couple turns away from the Elara, Resorts World Las Vegas is also preparing for the race differently this year.
I think last year was, call it a test year, right? I think we're all trying to figure out what is that customer journey going to look like? What is that customer behavior going to look like?
Even though Resorts World is just off the track, they want to make sure everyone's in on the action.
We want locals to be here. We're easy and accessible to get to. Last year did scare a lot of people away. I think some of the pricing made locals feel a certain way. I think this year was about recovery, getting people excited about F1.
F1 Las Vegas remains the most expensive race in 2023 and 2024. The average ticket price to attend is above $1,600, which is 3 times the season average, according to F1Destinations.com. But this year, the LVGP is offering more ticket options so people can make and stick to their budgets.
The addition of other ticketing experiences includes a general admission ticket, a single-day ticket, so you can really customize what you want to do, and so there's kind of every different budget and price point is represented based on the experience you want to have.
The cheapest tickets this year start at $99 for general admission on Thursday and $600 for the entire weekend. Drivers will take to the track for their first practice Thursday night, second practice on Friday, closing out the week with the big race on Saturday at 10 p.m. In Las Vegas, Sunnyside, Fox News.
AAA predicts almost 80 million people will be heading out of town for the Thanksgiving holiday break. That's almost 2 million more than last year. The organization says about 72 million people will travel by car, more than 5.8 million will fly somewhere, and about 2.3 million will go by other means. The busiest day for air travel will be Sunday, December 1st, while the least busy day will be Thanksgiving Day. If you are planning to travel, you may be up against some severe weather as well, especially in the Midwest, the Plains, and the Southeast. Finally, tonight, a sweet surprise for 2 Arizona brothers. 12-year-old Nolan Ham and his younger brother Noah had no idea their dad was coming home from his deployment overseas when he surprised them at their school in Peoria. Army Sergeant Joshua Ham has been serving in Kuwait. He and his wife Jeanette decided to do something special for their kids to celebrate the homecoming.
A bit overwhelming, but it's just a big surprise. I was just very happy. I didn't really understand if he was here or not.
The school helped out with all of this, saying that Nolan was being rewarded with a VIP lunch, and reunions like that are always so special to see. That does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching. As always, have a great night.